I'm Saad, the Chief Executive of the New Engineering Foundation.
So can we have a chat about green skills supply and demand?
Yes, I suppose one has to look at the supply and demand in the market before looking at the skills. Currently, the demand is dictated by a number of drivers. One is obviously the overall feeling and obligation that we do need to improve our climate, and therefore there is a general feel to decarbonize most of our homes and the places we work in. So that's one driver. The second driver is basically legislations which we are signed up to the Climate Change Act as a country, and therefore we need to meet our obligation and commitment in terms of carbon reduction. The third driver is financial, and that could be financial incentives or financial penalties. Incentives in the sense that creating a new market and driving a new market, one has to have some sort of intervention to support the development of new markets. In terms of penalties, obviously if we exceed the consumption and the production of the CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the climate, then obviously we will have to own up to some of these aspects and pay the penalties. So these are sort of some of the fundamental drivers, the political, the social, as well as the financial. If I then move into the aspect of the skills demand, currently the drive and the rate, the pace, if you like, of uptake in terms of the low carbon agenda has seen has seen a slow pace, and as such, interventions and drive from policymakers and from the government is so important to be able to sensitize the market to address some of these market failures. So we do need to address the aspect of the climate change. We do need to address the aspect of the low carbon agenda, but in order to achieve that, we need to have some of these interventions. And we have seen various sort of interventions from government that will drive, therefore, the development of skills. Currently, most of the skills needed require a good understanding in the different aspects of the full life cycle, if you like, of the design and manufacture and maintenance and decomposition of anything to do with low carbon services and products. And what we have seen so far, most of the qualifications and most of the training tended to be fairly narrow-banded in terms of its content, and to a larger degree it's out of date in terms of what the demand is. So if you look at most of the technologies today, they are converging technologies. They are covering different aspects of the engineering sphere, for example, of the human interface, of being in the environment. And unfortunately, most of the course provision in the marketplace tended to be very much focused on one thing or the other. So we need to see, we at the New Engineering Foundation, very keen to see two different sort of facets of the green skills. One, what we call the dark green skills, which focuses on the understanding, the development of the knowledge base around the engineering, the manufacturing, the design, the production, the maintenance of products that embrace the notion of green technologies, and the lighter green skills, which are around the audit, around the inspection, around assessment of greenhouse gases, or indeed in terms of CO2 emission in various sort of situations, whether it's the house, whether it's the place we work in, whether it's the hospital, and these are different set of skills and everything in between. So we'd like to sort of see a clear demarcation between the way in which we address the skills, whether it's a darker green skills or lighter green skills. Then if I move into the actual provision in terms of the supply of the skills, there are a number of failures in the way in which the green skills are addressed. One is basically most of the technologies are coming out of industry rather than the educational sector, particularly around the sort of the lower end of the skills, and I'm talking about here level 3 and level 4. and therefore most of the lectures are not necessarily green ready to address the needed skills for those markets and those sectors to service their needs. And I think there is an opportunity here for a clear partnership between the businesses and the colleges to be able to address some of the skills deficit associated with the green skills. However, there are fantastic inventions that the universities are introducing into the marketplace, and what we want to see is accelerating those inventions into the marketplace so that you have some of the disruptive technologies that will drive a new market and therefore will dictate the need for new skills. And we need to cascade the needs of those skills into the colleges, into other private providers, and all the way down to schools, quite frankly. And what we're seeing, sort of most of the youngsters today are very keen to study the aspect of green technologies or protecting the environment, sustainability, so that you are actually pushing on open doors with the youngsters to grab them into the fold of the STEM subjects, the science, technology, engineering and mathematics subjects, through the green skills door. And I think that is a great opportunity to raise the number of participants in the STEM skills in the green technologies.